Hi everyone and welcome back to the Arsenal Fan Theory podcast. Thanks for joining. I think I can safely say this is the best we felt after the game. We thumped Norwich 4-0. Yes, they were last place, but I think they had a lot to play for. So I think it was a great performance. And as always, I'm joined with my two co-hosts, Michael
What's up?
and and Dean.
How's it, guys?
All right, let's get to it. I think it was a great performance, guys. There were a few standout performances, but also what I find quite interesting regarding the Arteta regime, is yes, we might start with it seemed like a 3-5-2 type of setup, but it's not that simple. These guys, the formation's so fluid, that you find players in different positions throughout the game. Dean, how do you think, this is going to build Arsenal to the future? Because I think it's going to make us much more difficult to set up against in, up and coming games.
Yes, Brendan. No, as we've spoken over the probably the past four games, we can take the City game out. That was a completely different way we're gonna, we want to set up. But yeah, going forward, as you can see, on the counter attack, when teams counter attack us, we're not sitting there with short numbers anymore. We're not struggling like we used to with 3v3 or 3v2 type of thing. So it helps a lot with this formation to ensure that numbers at the back. And yeah, the especially the midfield and everybody is helping a lot more, getting back a lot quicker. So yeah, it's for the future we're gonna definitely be a lot harder to break down.
And like I said, it's also not just harder to break down. I think it's harder to set up against a team that's so fluid in their, positioning, especially throughout the game, which is quite good news, I think, for us. Um,
Yeah, definitely. On the attacking front, as you can see, when it's, Aubameyang, let's take this previous game, but in each game Aubameyang and the different players have all moved differently. But as you can take this one, Aubameyang started on the left in a sense on the defensive side, and then as soon as we attacked, then you saw Tony pushing up as the left wing, and then Aubameyang basically pushing more towards the center, becoming almost a left striker. You know what I mean?
uh,
So definitely, no matter what team he chooses on the day, he's it's just seeming that we're coming up with more and more ways to break down opposition. Of course, people are going to say, Norwich bottom of the log team, but yeah, Norwich had a lot to fight for. These Oaks are fighting for relegation, and it's not that the relegation fight is over. So, it's not that they've given up. So, no, I thought it was a brilliant performance. It felt, as you said, probably this entire season we haven't had a convincing performance like this and felt a feel good feeling after the game.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. And Mike, one of the key things I felt was like a driver to our success in the game is we had a functioning midfield. I think Ceballos played out of his skin. I haven't seen, well, he dropped off in the second half, but I think in the first half performance, I don't think he's played better, not even against Burnley in the start of the season. And I think also we saw some midfielders joining, the attack. Midfielders arriving into the box. We have what we haven't really seen from this Arsenal team under Arteta. So that's a very positive thing. What is your take on the why would the midfield ever all of a sudden start, contributing so much? It's just one game, but you get what I'm going at.
Yeah, well, Brenna, I completely agree with you. I think Danny Sabas had a superb game. Um, yeah, he did fade out of the game a little bit deep into the second half, but his first half was outstanding, and as you know, he scored the winner against Sheffield. But obviously, I think it's Arteta's plan to get the midfield more involved because it has been a problem area for us, as you said. The midfield hasn't been contributing enough goals towards the team. We've been relying heavily on our attack, and it's over the last period, the last season or so, it's actually caused some problem for us because it's just been too much for our attack, well, strikers to handle, with all the goals we're conceding as well. So yeah, I think the plan is obviously to set us up make us a lot more difficult to beat and have the midfield contribute in the attack and the counter attack.
Well, so I mean, I think me and Dean also touched on that. I think the fluidity of the team also helps a lot because you see like the wingers filling in for midfielders. You see the wing backs or left backs, right backs, whatever the position they're playing, filling in for midfielders if they're out of position much more than we've seen in under previous teams. Dean, obviously there are a lot of positive things that we can take out of the game, and there were a lot of positive performances. Which was the standout performance for you?
Shucks. It's difficult, Brendan. Yeah.
Mm.
Between, probably Aubameyang and, like you said, Ceballos. Even Shaka, to me, had an amazing game. We haven't seen Shaka have a game like that. Especially, before Arteta, I was one to criticize Shaka's forward balls, and sometimes him shying away from forward balls, but, not in that game. So, sure, standout performance. It's difficult, but you probably have to give it to Aubameyang. 2 goals and an assist at the end of the day. It's difficult to argue against that. So yeah, Aubameyang's. Once you saw him get the goal, the confidence comes back, and sadly, that's all a striker's in his mind at the end of the day. That's all it's about: scoring goals and the number he has at the end of the day. So he can play as well as he wants to and not score goals, and it's going to eventually affect his end game. So yeah, it was nice. For me, that's the stand-up performance. It's nice to see Aubameyang get back on the team sheet again, smiling. On the score sheet again, smiling, and yeah, getting an assist along with that. And it was just nice when you see the players celebrating and how they celebrate together. You can see there's a good unity and a good team spirit in it.
Yeah, Mike, like I said, there are quite a few standout performances. Obviously, Oba taking the limelight, especially with him reaching his 50 goal mark in record time for Arsenal. Any other players you think you can highlight just to mention, what a great performance they had on the day?
Yeah, well, obviously, like you guys said, Zaka and Sabas, I think both had great games. But another player we haven't mentioned yet is Quintini again. Yes, I think he had another good match. I'm really liking what I see from him since he's come back from injury. He's
Yeah.
solid. He's solid on the defense, and he's he's very energetic. He gets up and down. He helps in the attack, and he actually has a good final ball. So yeah.
I think on Twitter especially, I've been praising Tyranny's performances. I think if we can keep hold of him and he continues to grow, I think we've really got a future captain in our hands. I think his mentality is one of the biggest things that I appreciate from Tyranny. He's one of those no nonsense defenders, even though he's not the biggest guy on the field. And he likes actually being in that physical battle, making the tackles, being in those duels, and then contributing on the attacking side as well. All right. Obviously, the game wasn't the only good news. There was a big signing or re-signing of a contract. Saka signed the deal, so that's a bit of positive news as well. Um, I don't want to spend too much time on the Norwich game. There were so many positives. We don't want to put a damper on it. Anything you guys want to highlight throughout the Norwich game before we go into the player ratings?
I'll just look for more of the same, because that was by far our best performance of the season.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree, and I think we'll see us building on it. This weekend might be a bit more difficult, but you can see the team's confidence coming back under the Arteta regime, especially with the dip we had in the start of the lockdown period. All right, so I'm gonna kick it off. I think I usually give the first one to you, Dean. So I think I'm gonna give Martinez to Michael this time. Or is it the other way around? I can't remember. Who usually gets the goalkeeper? I want to switch it
No, I
up.
think you're right. I've given the goal.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, Mike Martinez.
Well, I'll I'll have to give Martinez a 7. Again, he had a good performance. Didn't really do anything wrong for me in this game. His distribution is better than Lena's in my opinion, and he made a few good saves, although you would expect him to make it, but he also didn't make any mistakes. So yeah.
Yeah, I think Martinez is really proving his worth as a second or backup keeper. And if he keeps up the form, I think he'll probably be pushing, if not for Arsenal, he'll be pushing a move away so he gets more first team football because he's really performing well. Okay, Dean, one of the players that didn't stand out as much, so Hector Bellerin.
Yeah, unconvincing performance again. Never really offered anything going forward. Luckily enough for our, shape and solidity. But yeah, six, and I think that's also been nice. But end of the day, clean sheet. But yeah, I think Cedric's really going to push his position there. Arteta even mentioned that Cedric's final ball is better than anybody in that position. So
All right,
it's exciting.
so your screen froze on my side, but I didn't get your. Can you just give the rating again? I've got your audio.
Sorry for Bellerin, huh?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Bellerin is six out of 10, and that's just being nice because we got the clean sheet.
Yeah, I heard the last parts, regarding Cedric, and I think Bellerin has got a real task on his hand to stay in the team now. Well, I'm also quite adamant that Maitland-Niles could have done a job if he was really up for the task playing there. But in any case, it's a story for another day. Mustafi unfortunately came off after the first half. I didn't think he did too badly. Not anything outstanding. I think I'm just the average six for him should be fine. Mike, then we go to the center. It was Louise playing down the middle of the defense.
I'm gonna give Louise a 6 as well. Again, he didn't do badly, but also not an outstanding performance. So.
All right, and then on the left centre back, it was Klasniak, I believe, for the start of the game.
Mm.
Dean?
I give him a 7. You remember the other day, Brendan, I asked you with the whole Kolasinac and Tierney,
Yeah.
what's the future there? And sure, Arteta answered that quite quickly. That's maybe Kolasinac's better position is in the left centre back of a 3 in the back. I don't see him working in 2 at the back, but definitely 3 at the back. So I give him 7. He was solid. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think Klasniak performs better if he doesn't have too much ground to cover. So if he can stay, in one position, stick to his task, he does look a lot more sound in the defense.
And
Yeah.
and also when he falls into the midfield, when we break into the to 2 at the back, or he falls into the left back,
Mm.
it's he covers, he's a solid oak. You're not gonna get around him easy. He's big. It's difficult to get around him. It it definitely offers that cover that we need on the counter attack.
Right, and I think I've got a very easy one as well as Tyranny. I'm going to give him 8 out of 10 for this game again. I don't think he didn't put a foot wrong in my eyes, and he just continues to grow, in stature every game he plays. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. Right, Mike, the midfield. I'm going to go with Ceballos.
Yes, it's difficult. I want to give him an 8, but I'll give him a 7. Well, we spoke earlier about his performance. I think he had an absolute great game. Normally, he's quite solid defensively, but he was very creative in attack as well. So, good performance.
Yeah, I was also a bit torn between a 7 and 8 because I haven't seen him spray the ball and be so attack minded, if I can use that term, this season yet. So I think seven's probably fair, but I wouldn't be, against an 8 either.
Yeah,
Xhaka.
look, I think,
Yeah,
yeah,
sorry
sorry.
again. Maybe you can.
No, I think like as we said, he faded during the game.
Mm,
So, if you kept his performance from start to end, I think 8 would be fair. But yeah, it
mm,
wasn't, you know.
you can someone pick up on Xhaka's performance.
Sorry about that. Well, look, the goal stunning. So, I'd give him an 8 out of 10. He took the armband at the end of the game, which I thought was very nice and good to see that Arteta's including him back into the captain's group and everything like that. The Oaks talk that if you listen, I think we even maybe mentioned it on on previous episodes that, during these games, he is so vocal. He is the one barking and shouting and pulling shape and all of this. Of course, Arteta is the one doing it, but he's the one assisting. So, yeah, he deserves to me an 8 out of 10. The goal and the way he, led. And as I was talking, his forward balls, he was, yeah, a lot more creative.
Yeah, like you said, I think we've mentioned quite a few times on the podcast is, he might not be the most dynamic midfielder, but the things he does bring to the team, we sorely miss it when it's not in there. And Mike, so who starts? So it was then Nelson down the right.
Yeah, is it me now, Brent, or is it you?
Nelson, if it's me, I'm gonna give Nelson. I also give him a 6. I don't think he did too badly. He had definitely had a few bright sparks. I think he was quite unfortunate with Lacazette not finishing some of the chances he created. But also, he wasn't, it was only moments. He wasn't involved in the game too much. So, a 6 out of 10, I think, is a fair rating for him today. So, Mike, Lacazette.
Lacazette, I'll also have to give a 6. I have to say I actually liked his performance. He was working really hard defensively. His link up play was really good, but yes, you can see he's not well. He's very low on confidence. He doesn't even look like he wants to shoot. He just wants to offload the ball for someone else to take on the shots. I just think he needs a few goals. Yeah, 6.
Nadine, I want you to chip in here just for a second, because for me, if Lacazette scored a goal, he probably would have been a contender for not the man of the match, but up there with 8 out of 10 rating, because I think he really played well. He linked the play well. He tracked back. He almost played like a false nine position. And all that his game was missing is a goal. But unfortunately, as a striker, you judged on your goals at the end of the day. So, what's your view on Lacazette?
Yeah. No, look, Brendan, I agree with you. As I mentioned earlier, at the end of the day, no matter how good your link up play, no matter how good everything is, at the end of the day, all that matters to a striker or the audience or a manager. Okay, no, not necessarily a manager. Look at Olivier Giroud, for
Mm,
example. But so goals do matter at the end of the day. Look, to say 6 is harsh is not harsh, but I agree with you. At the end of the day, if we put a goal in, we're talking about a 8 out of 10 performance, but he didn't score.
mm,
His link up play is very vital to the team. It's shame, as Michael said, the Oak looks like he doesn't even want to shoot anymore. And that's what happens with these strikers. Once these Oaks don't put it in the back of the net, it's almost as if they feel they can't do it anymore. Look at Fernando Torres, how that Oak tore apart by missing a
mm.
couple of open goal opportunities. So shame. I feel for the Oak. I really hope, we all thought things would kick off for him after he got that goal, but he deflected that goal against his leg. So maybe that wasn't, I don't know, but it's not
Yeah,
kicking off for him. So
yeah,
let's hope he gets off the mark soon because, of course, we'll see a different player then.
yeah. Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens to him in the summer as well, because there's a lot of speculation hanging in his head. Also, okay, Dean, I think it's you just to finish off with Aubameyang.
Aubameyang.
Yeah.
Yeah, and 9 out of 10. At the end of the day, 2 goals and an assist, just on a statistic note, is amazing. You know what I mean? It's a hat trick in terms of creation of goals.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, he was a lot more involved in the game. It's nice to see. I do think he can get more involved in the game, but that's quite scary to say. Imagine look, he demanded the ball a lot. Of course, I'm not saying that, but as I said before, he scored the goal. There's that bit of lack of confidence, or a lot of lack of confidence he had before that. But yeah, good performance. 2 goals and an assist. 9 out of 10.
I'm gonna do all the substitutes because I think there were only two substitutes on long enough to actually give a rating, and I think both of them slotted in quite nicely to the team. It didn't have a huge impact. It's Willock and Holding. Holding obviously came on halftime, and I think the others were just on too short to actually justify giving them a rating other than a 5 or 6 out of 10. So I don't think we need to discuss that too much. And then with the games coming thick and fast, we've got the Wolves on Saturday, which is actually a very big game. Now that Chelsea's lost, I'm not saying that we're in the running for the top four anymore, but it just condenses that the space between teams up there, and it just puts a bit more pressure on the teams. Having the third and fourth spots at the moment. Chelsea lost, Leicester lost, so it means we can catch up a bit if we beat Wolves, and obviously Wolves are still also above us. So it's a very big game. Mike, um, on that, I think Wolves has done excellent across the last 2 years. They've really built a solid squad. I think the manager has done a great job with them. They've got a lot out of Adama Traore recently. He's really sparked into life this season. What are your expectations? How do you think? Do you think we're going to set up with the back three again, or might we go back to a back four for this game?
Well, this is going to be a really tough one, Ben. Wolves are a really good team. They in the best form since the Premier League restarted. Actually, won all three of their games. Only team to do so in the Premier League so far. And yeah, I expect us to set up the same as we did against Norwich. I think it is how Arteta wants to play going forward, and it's going to make us a lot harder to break down. And in the past, we've been very easy to break down, so we do definitely have the talent in the midfield and the attack to score goals. So if we set up in the right manner, then we might be in with a chance for this one.
What do you expect the lineup to be on Saturday? Seeing that I was quite surprised that Lacazette started, but obviously I think Arteta saw this as an opportunity to rest Nketiah before the big game on Saturday. I believe he's going to come in. Are there any other changes we might uh,
Just
look at?
just before you say, Dean, I saw on the team news that Torreira is back fit again.
Yeah. Yeah, so of course that would be very nice to see Torreira come in, but I don't know, as we've just mentioned, we're playing Wolves next, and Wolves, they're a tough team, I agree we're going to set up in the same formation, the same tactical formation and everything like that. So even against City going forward, I think we might try and defend and everything the way we are defending now. But yeah, to take Ceballos and Shaka out after a performance like that against a team like Wolves and Torreira just coming back so long not playing, I don't know if we'll slot him straight away in. You know what I mean? I agree that he's an important player, but we don't want to rush him back or cause any disruption in a team that's now finding fluidity. So I don't think he'll start. I truly think Torreira will come off the bench. He will be eased into firstly fitness. You generally never see an Oak coming back from injury slot straight back into the team. I would like to see maybe David Luiz drop out the team in a holding and
Mustafi or
Holding and
Socrates?
Mustafi. Sorry, Holding and Mustafi.
Yeah.
Holding and Mustafi start there, of course, with the whole Kolasinac and Turney and Bellerin. Although maybe to see if Cedric's ready for a start, but yeah, probably start Bellerin on the right again with Martinez. Yeah, so I don't see too much changes except I think I agree with you, Brendan. I see Nketiah coming in for Lacazette, and then on the right hand side, of course, I see Pepe coming in for
Nelson,
Nelson, and then I do see maybe Saka also getting back into the team somehow.
yeah. It's that's quite a headache to have
Oh,
fitting back Saka into that team. I'm not sure where we're going to put him in. It might be that we slot Tierney back into the left centre back position and use Saka as that left wing back type of role. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Mike, do you foresee any other changes I agree with Dean that I don't think Torreira is going to be rushed back into the squad.
No, I more or less agree with the team Dean put out. I think Pep will start on the right. It will probably be in Ketia. It could be Aubameyang and put Saka on the left wing instead of moving Tierney back. It could be something like
That's
that
a good
as well.
option as well.
But yeah, other than that, I agree with the team.
Right, and as usual, we've got a section in our show that we do key battles on the day. I don't know. I know Traore doesn't always start. He sometimes uses an impact player from the bench, the Wolves team. But what's their striker Jimenez? I think he's been scoring goals for fun throughout the last 2 seasons, not just this season. And they've got a player like Jota that also slots in quite nicely, I think, from the left hand side or sometimes up top with him. So I definitely see, Jimenez as the key threat, especially with our shaky defense. Well, not shaky defense, but our historically fragile defense. I think either Mustafi or Socrates, whoever's going to play on the right hand side of the defense, is going to have a real handful. Dean, where do you think the key battle is going to be on the day?
Well, Brendan, I fully agree with you. We can talk about Traore and Jota and all these guys, but I think the biggest target man, as you said, is Jimenez. We've, of course, Mustafi Holding, all of these Oaks have gotten a lot better with dealing with the ball on the ground, but still, the ball in the air, you, you saw it in the Sheffield game in the second half there. The Sheffield game in the second half, those Oaks came on and started flinging balls. And of course, that's where the goal came with the throw-in, is a high ball into the box. We are not good with dealing with the ball in the air. At least with Leno, when he was in goals, we were at least commanding in the, at corners and set pieces. But now Leno's, you know, and even him, Leno wasn't 100% solid in air balls. So, yeah, I think Jimenez is definitely going to be the threat, especially in the air. Jimenez is a tall oak, and yeah, that's where I see the threat from Wolves side. But Arsenal side, shush, the threat can. That's what's look. It's the same with Wolves, like we said. Adama Traore, Jota, they've got Martinho. They've got Ruben Neves. These oaks are quality players. But at the end of the day, we've also got quality players coming through. We've got quality youngsters, and we're just trying to build some confidence. So hopefully, yeah, I see an all-round. But of course, end of the day, it's got to be through a striker. It's got to be Aubameyang or one of these oaks that come to the party, and
Yeah, well, I think you had a very good shout there as well in Ruben Neves. I think there's been a midfielder that's also developed quite quickly in that Wolves team. He's also quite young. I think he's also 23, 24, I believe. So it's definitely an exciting prospect for the future. Someone that we might look at if we need to rebuild our midfield in the long run. Anyways, Mike,
as,
do you have any other key battles we need to look out for?
Well, you guys named most of them, Brent. Well, one of them that I would have said. But yeah, there's obviously going to be a few key battles during the game. Obviously, I think the midfield battle between Neves and Martinho and probably Zaka and Sabas is going to be a key battle. And I agree with Dean. Jimenez is going to be a target man. They're going to look to go aerial. And Rob Holding's probably our best defender in the air. So I think it would be a key battle between those two. And Abba and Pepe both look like they're finding form now. They've been playing well, so hopefully they can keep it up, so they can be our key men for the game, and hopefully just lift the whole team around them. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very exciting game Thursday. It's going to be much more tightly contested, I believe, than the Norwich game. Obviously, I don't see Wolves giving away 2 goals, so I think we're going to have to rely much more on our creativity in midfield and obviously our attackers. So let's get to the score predictions. Dean, what's your score predictions for Saturday?
sure. difficult, you know. I know you say you don't see them conceding 2 goals, but at the end of the day, these are two attacking teams. You know, I think, yeah. Although at the end of the day, you know, Nuno Espirito Santos, he knows that he knows our strength, so he's also going to look at that. So you know, you could be. Um, to be honest, I'm going with a 2-2 draw. It's difficult, but you know, at the end of the day, Wolves are flying high. We are flying high as well, but shoot, it's a. I don't know. I don't. You know, as much as we've progressed in our defensive side, I don't see them being able to, you know, stop a team like Wolves from scoring.
No.
Especially if we can't stop a team like Brighton from scoring. You know, so
No, I said I don't think Wolves are going to give away 2 goals like Norwich did, because I think there was a mistake from the keeper, and there was
Of the
the
one throw-in,
yeah, the one
basically.
throw in. Aubameyang also
you're right.
pounced on a missed pass. So I think we're going to have to work much harder for our goals. Um,
We're not going to get these.
yeah, not going to get any freebies on the day, but I also think we probably are going to get a draw, and I'm also going to go with a 2-2 draw. I don't see a low scoring game, but I do think we've got the firepower to counter whatever they can throw at us. Mike, your predictions?
Well, Brian, obviously, I'd also like to see us kick on with a win here and actually start fighting for a place in Europe, but I also don't see it happening. I would like to say 2-1, but I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw.
Well, it's we haven't really been too close with any of our score predictions.
So let's hope we're wrong.
So let's hope we're wrong again,
Again.
and yeah, and Arsenal pull out a win. Um, yeah, like I said, it's actually very nice to see. Yes, it was a difficult start to the restart of the season, but it's really nice to see Arteta managing the squad and actually being able to build their confidence and the team, growing in stature. So I think it's a very exciting project and a very exciting game. Final words, Dean?
Yeah, exactly. You know, Brennan, it's a very exciting game. It's two attacking teams, but two tactical managers that are going to set up to ensure, you know, that no matter how much they attack, there is going to be some thought behind defending. Yeah, you know, other than that, two brilliant managers, we were even looking at, you know, before. Of course, I think Arteta was always number one in their eyes. But, you know, he was one of the oaks that the bookies had at a stage very high. So highly rated manager. He's got a good team. You know, his connection with I forgot the agent's name, but you know, this
Yes.
agent is pretty much all the agents of this
Isn't it
of the
George
players that will.
Mendes?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. Yes,
Yeah.
George Mendes. You're right.
Hmm.
So you know, it's it clearly works. You know, all these. It's a tight knit group. You know, it's not. You know, at the end of the day, I think we've got a lot more depth. So maybe you know, at the end of the day, maybe what can play in our favor is you know strength in depth. You know, these Oaks. I'm not saying they don't have good players on the bench, but you know, their starting 11 almost picks itself every week.
Yeah.
So you know, and that's not the same that Arteta's sitting with. So let's hope that's our bit of an edge over, you know. But yeah, I see a very exciting game, a very attacking game, and yeah, looking forward to it.
But yeah, I know. It's like I think we all agree we can't wait for kickoff, and luckily there's not long between matches these days, so we don't have to wait too long. Mike, final thoughts?
Well, I'm also really excited for the game, but nervous at the same time. You know, I think it's going to be a really good game. I believe that Arteta is starting to get his ideas through. I think he's going to be a big manager for the club. I think he will bring us back to better days. But for now, I'm not going to get my hopes up too much, you know. So let's just see what happens.
Right, guys. Once again, um, we'll see what the reaction is. But we've cut down the time on our episodes quite a bit. Let's hope the people enjoy it and give us some feedback. But again, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. I really appreciate it. I always enjoy the chat, and everyone, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.